is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
And welcome to Guardian Radio Today, the October 7th edition of Guardian Radio Today here on 96.9 Guardian Radio. My name is Dr. Cleveland W. Enes III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Today's show, Guardian Radio Today, is being sponsored by Commonwealth Bank, Marco's Pizza, the Cleveland Clinic, Fidelity Bank, Burger King, and Ron's Electric Motors. I pray that you have been having a wonderful day and you had a wonderful weekend. Of course, I'm only, I kind of in the middle of the week, so I don't get that Monday show, But I pray that you all had a wonderful weekend. I got a shout out for I decided I was going to catch the bus today. You know what I mean? So my brother Omar, Madadi on 15A. Big shout out to Madadi on 15A. And that loud woman was on the bus. He probably off the bus by now, but big respect to her too, you know what I mean? Yeah, my daddy, 15-8. So listen, we got a show today. This show to wrap up a conversation that we started to have on Wednesday around Aragonite and natural resources. We had a gentleman that called in, Mr. James Curlin. Kermie, he's supposed to call in. He told me he'd call in, so you could look out for his call. Just screen the calls. I don't want any other calls except for Mr. Curlin whenever he calls in, James Curlin. He said he would call in. And then also, I know C. Allen was supposed to jump on the Zoom. So we want to see, Tinker here too, right? Yes. And Dr. Tinker. So if Dr. Tinker's already there, right? Yeah, let me bring in Dr. Tinker right now, because he was supposed to be in last week, and boy, my phone issues caught up with me. But my brother, how you doing, man? You there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
How you been, man?
Good. Been dry compared to some people down there that's been pretty wet, but been dry.
I know, right? I know. Is this Mr. Curlin calling in? Check, Kermie. Yeah, Tinker, so we can get started in just a second. I just want to remind people that October 3rd, Pleasant Village Day, all right, our homecoming in Mount Pleasant Village, that's the holiday Monday, is October 13th, 12 noon till about 10 p.m., and we're going to be, catching up, rekindling Mount Pleasant Day. We're going to have booths, we're going to have games, and most of all, we're going to have fellowship. We have many people who came out of Mount Pleasant that are going to be coming back just to show their face and to, make it a memorable day. When I was younger, we would have Mount Pleasant Day all night. You know what I mean? And so now that we the adults, we've decided to help to rekindle it. So my generation and the generation before me, we working together. All right. So October 13th is Mount Pleasant Day. Kermie, is that James Curlin? No. Okay. So Tinker, how you been, man?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there.
That's good. We've been having a lot going.
Been observing this flood issue that's been. Not a new issue. It's been around for a long time, so I kind of want to put my engineering on to discuss this issue.
So we knew the storm was coming, right? And I saw Ministry of Works. They started to clear some drains. I saw them even preparing the roundabouts to be like a reservoir They created some channels to allow the water to settle in the roundabouts, and some other things. I know I'm not an engineer like you, so I know you would have an eye for certain things. But what do you do on an island that is at sea level, and once it becomes saturated, where does the water go?
The connection's kind of bad, so if you could hear me clear, then
I can hear you clear.
okay.
I can hear you very clear. Yeah, I can hear you very clear. You heard what I asked you?
Okay, well, yeah. So anyhow, I mean, I'm right now residing in a swamp. Florida's under sea level. Florida is much wetter than Nassau on any given day. Florida doesn't have any rocks like Nassau has rocks all over the place. Florida is pure sand. Which is we call it shell rock. As soon as you dig 1 foot, you can see the shells in the sand. We don't even have dirt.
Wow.
And because of this, when you fly over Florida, you flying into Florida, you see all these ponds all over the place. You ever been on a plane flying over Florida?
Yeah.
You see all these water.
Yeah, a lot of water.
These are not natural.
Really?
Besides the Everglades, all of these are man-made.
Okay, I didn't know
because
that.
whenever you build a community, the first thing any engineer, or I mean, you're gonna have to help me with this part. Who's responsible for? I guess in the Bahamas, do we have a environmental protection agency?
Well, I know
that deals with the environment.
Yeah, there is an agency that deals with it. That's you have to get I think they call it an EPA. You have to get an environmental assessment before you do certain project. So there is
someone like an environment, someone like a department of zoning, and obviously you have a building department down there. The first thing you always do when you start a new community is you want to know the elevation, the elevation of the area building. Besides knowing the elevation, the next thing any developer has to do is discuss how you're going to move your water.
Right.
How are you going to get rid of the water when you build on this land that's receding the water and you put concrete on it? Now, what you going to do with the water runoff? How are you going to get rid of that?
Right.
So let's go back to flying over Florida. So when you fly over Florida and you see these communities, and many of these communities have a lake or pond.
Right.
This is not natural, because what they do, they build something called a retention pond.
Right.
Because they know once they put these houses on this swampy land, the water needs somewhere to go. So they elevate the level of the earth. In many cases, 5 feet above grade, which when I say above grade, 5 feet above the crown of the road.
Okay. That's where
the house is sitting up on a little hill, and the water then is run to the front of the house, which is like a culvert made from sod with some pipes in there, and then that water runs down to something known as a drainage canal.
Yeah, I have a text.
And that drainage...
Department of Environmental Planning and Protection. Department of Environmental Planning and Protection. Thank you, Dexter.
Okay, and that water then runs into a drainage canal, and then that drainage canal runs into a big retention pond, or the water can be sent to the ocean, or the water can be sent to a big reservoir somewhere where that water is controlled, and then they have lift stations there to block the water from coming back out and to pump the water in. So let's look at Pinewood, that I'm familiar with in the South Beach area, because other parts of the island swamp. So yes, the Wilson guys built a lot of that, or WAC Homes built a lot of those properties out there.
They say, they continued it. They say another investor started it, and then they took over from it.
Okay, so whoever built it, they built that whole area wrong, because number one, they probably never shot elevations, and they built the houses flat on top of the soil. Okay, which the beach, South Beach, the ocean is not too far away from that. So in any case, those houses should have been elevated higher. But now they're already there. So let's discuss the plan forward. First plan, you still want to shoot an elevation to know how high the slab grade, which is basically the concrete in your house. How high is that above the sea level down the road over there by the beach? Once you figured out how high that is, you could do a couple of things. You would have to use something called eminent domain, which means the government would have to buy some houses out there. Okay, buy a few houses and knock them down.
Because that's my question. How would they
dig a huge? The government can do that. It's within the government's authority to do that. The government has the right, eminent domain, to buy property for the betterment of the majority of the people.
Right.
For a fair, just value. So whatever the market value is, not what you want, whatever the market say you're worth, the government have the right to offer you that property, level them off, basically knock them down and start digging a huge retention pond where water could flow to various parts in that area and retain them. From that same retention pond, you find basically maybe the backside of the property somewhere, like how you have in Yamakro, you have those drainage canals. And you can also install a drainage canal to the backside where the property where that water could drain into the ocean, or you divert the water to some higher area through drainage canal systems. But almost immediately, to help with the overflow of the water, you would need to find the lowest point in that area, because water always tends to run to the lowest point. The water is not going to sit in the high point. Once the ground is saturated, it tends to run to the lowest area. You find the lowest point in that neighborhood, and if there's 10, 20 homes in that lowest point, you buy them back from the people, knock them all down, and dig a massive retention pond. Whether it could be a 5-acre, 10-acre retention pond. And most of your water will run there. Once that happens, it keeps the whole community dry. And that's how it happens in Florida. Because the goal is, okay, you're in a swamp, community dry, retention ponds, drainage canals, pump stations. Because you can't change the geography. No. You just got to work around the geography.
Right.
So we already know the Bahamas is somewhat a little bit below sea level. Why new construction continue to build flat? They need to build, put the garage underneath and build on stakes.
Right.
With a concrete. Build up 6-7 feet above and make that be the new code for all new construction. Because every time I travel there, the idiots are knocking down the hills. They're ripping down whatever hill that's left in the country.
You're looking for curry, man. You got to sell curry.
Flooding. Yeah, but Jesus Christ, go to another island and bring the curry in, or find a different material to use.
Yeah.
You're destroying the natural makeup of the island. And once you destroy that, it never comes back.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It never comes back. So the building department really needs to look at 21st century ways to build houses in low-lying area. And again, stop reinventing the wheel. Florida is right there. Florida is a swamp.
I'm happy you brought that suggestion to the table. I'm going to be happy to hear how responses will be. But I do think, you
could bring anybody from the building department or any engineer down there. They should know this. Florida, you're already low.
Yeah.
Well, if you go Key West, Florida, all those houses in Key West is up about 6, 8, 9 feet above the ground. You go to New Orleans, same thing. You go to Mississippi, same thing. You know you're low.
Right.
You know you get hurricanes. You know you get surges.
Right.
Why are you building flat?
Right.
And then you're knocking down all the hills.
Right. Right.
So it doesn't even make sense to continue to build this way when you know the Prime Minister went to the UN and begged for global warming, traveling all over the world and begging about global warming and climate change. All right, well, you're begging for global warming and climate change and telling the big nations they need to do better. Well, you're not doing what you need to do in the Bahamas to make sure your people don't make these global warming and climate change mistakes by building stupidly.
Yeah.
You have to change the culture of the way construction is done down there. And, I'm a straight shooter. Oh, the Bahamas have the best building code, and we build stronger than Florida. Hey, building a house out of concrete and making all the walls in concrete doesn't mean your building code is any better. You're inefficient. Look how hot those houses are down there with no insulation or anything like that. You're using pressure-treated wood for the roof to put in the roof truss. Pressure-treated has formaldehyde and all sorts of chemicals in it. Well, guess what? Whilst you're sleeping in your house, you're breathing in all that stupid chemical because it doesn't supposed to be in the roof. It's supposed to be in water. not in the roof, all because of the termite. Okay, well, spray something on the wood for the termites, but you don't put that stuff in the roof. It has chemicals in it. And then you wonder why you have all these cancer and all these crazy stuff, because you're using the wrong material in the wrong place.
Wow.
And nobody says anything about it. I go there all the time. It's like, you got pressure treated in the roof? Are you insane? That's supposed to go in the roof, man. It's designed for use in bathrooms and tubs, an area that sits in water, not up there. So when the thing starts to fume off, you breathe it in. So there's a lot of discussion needs to take place on relooking at the building code, relooking at those that enter the country, and relooking how we're building in the Bahamas in the 21st century. And listen, I build all the time. I'm a certified general contractor, which means I can build from a doghouse to a Donald Trump tower. That's the certification I carry. In roofing, mechanical, HVAC, plumbing, and certified general contracting. So I could talk construction because I'm in the area where our water system is worse than what's in Nassau.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's stick a pin there. We got a caller in that we started a conversation last week, Wednesday, right? I want to keep that in the record. We're gonna continue to discuss that. But I want to bring in a man that called in last week, Wednesday, Mr. James Curlin. Are you there, Mr. Curlin?
I'm here.
Sorry for not getting you in at the top of the show, but I know your time is valuable, so I just wanted to have you come on because we were discussing natural resources in honor of the late Honorable Vaughn Miller, who passed recently, and you called in at the end of the show to make it known that you work with Aragonite. You're in that business, and you wanted to share some of the realities that you are faced with as a person who actually sells the sand or the Aragonite. And so I just wanted you to just explain that again, and then I wanted to share some things with you to get your feedback, and then we could go back into the discussion we were having earlier. So tell us exactly what you do, please.
Not a problem. There are a lot of guys running around town, including Mr. Lincoln Bean, who is discussing what Aragonite or any other sand sells for. And I dare to say to any which one of them, we sell Aragonite or sand here for maximum $25
per ton.
If they $25 a ton, if they could fetch $8 and $6 and $5 and $400 a ton for it, why don't they come down to Iraqi and buy it at $25 a ton and then take the market over? That's what I've been saying, because these guys are running around town saying this stuff wastes billions of dollars and the Bahamians are not benefiting from it. Then I dare any Bahamian under the sound of my voice or anybody else, come buy it for $25 and you got the market, go and sell it for $200 and $300 and $400.
Right. So let me share something with you, Mr. Curlin, and you tell me what what you know about this or if this makes any sense to you, right? People are researching and they're seeing, when they look at the market overview, all right, this particular, I got a couple of websites here. When you start talking about markets and Aragonite, certain companies come up, Calcine, Carib Sea, Aqua Natural, Seashem, Bulk Reef Supplies, etc. And they make these claims, right? I'll read here. It says the Aragonite sand market is a part of the global aquarium substrate market. The overall reef aquarium market, which is the primary driver of demand for Aragonite sand, is experiencing strong growth and was projected to reach $8.4 billion by 2027. The demand for Aragonite sand is tied directly to the saltwater and Shylate aquariums, right? So this is what the research, or this is what's popping up. Have you heard anything about this, or is this something that
I've been hearing about this? And let's take, for instance, KFC. All right, KFC would buy probably, I'll say no more than 5,000 tons of shelly sand from the Bahamas a year at somewhere in the vicinity, including shipping, for about $50, $55, $60 a ton. And if KFC can turn that 5,000 tons into $8 billion, and KFC been in the industry now for many, many years, I dare to believe, tend not to believe any of that story is true. Once KFC get that shelly sand, KFC then do all kinds of stuff to that sand. In some instances, they paint it and they make it for aquariums for the fish. But then KFC would not have even been existing. You don't think there was KFC around?
Well, this is why the discussion keeps it keeps festering, right? Because you have these. There's another site called Market Research Store, right?
And all this is baloney. I can tell you that.
So you think so why would people make this stuff up? Why would they say that this is such a valuable resource?
I don't know. I don't have the reason why they make it up.
Right.
But I can guarantee you, they ain't getting that sand from the Bahamas. I know the few people who export Aragonite, and I can tell you, the most Aragonite goes out of the Bahamas ain't amount to 150 tons Aragonite, and they talk about this stuff in Freeport. That is poor road-based material. Ain't no Aragonite in that limestone. And with the 150,000, that only go to whatever market it is. That's the agriculture market and every other market in the United States.
Yeah, I'm seeing they say fertilizer, skincare, construction, etc.
They're trying. I can tell you, scientists are trying to develop markets for skincare and plastic and paper and all that now.
Pharmaceuticals too. They say pharmaceuticals too.
It takes a lot of money to do that.
Right.
And that market is not really developed yet. It is still in the process of being put together.
So you're saying right now, if a Bahamian knew how to access this market where they could get billions of dollars, they could come down to where you selling this sand.
They could come down to Iraqi and say, Mr. Curlin, I want 50, 60, 70, 80,000 tons. I'll be willing to give them a damn discount.
That's a win for you, right?
That's a win for me.
Yeah.
And any one of us who are in the sand business, I'm not the only one. That's a big win. I mean, sand is there.
Yeah.
There are trillions of tons of sand in the Bahamas.
Right.
And I beg to differ from all of these myths.
Right.
That's going around telling Bahamians that when you vote for me, we can be able to take over the Aragonite market and give you $100, $100,000, or $50,000 off the natural resources.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. Well, for me, I ain't so much, getting into the political aspect of it. I really just a Bahamian who is, trying to figure out.
Bahamian,
and I'm happy.
For the truth.
I'm happy. I'm happy you calling because you in the industry, you in the business. And they say
I'd love to sell as much as I could, and the Bahamas benefit from every green of it. That's so. Imagine Aragonite sells for $20 a ton. The government gets $2, but now there's a new act now that's going to be enforced shortly, where the government will share in whatever profit it is. If it's $100, I think they get 25% or something like that with the new act. But the market in there, my friend, it may be a market that could be developed, but so far over my 40 years of doing it,
you won't see it.
I should have had a host on the moon.
Well, I wanted you to get that out there. I wanted you to get that on the record. I know there'll be people who will call in and they may differ. But
they could call me, like I gave you my number last week.
Right. Right. Well, you see what I do. You see.
If there are some Bahamians who know where this market is, I'm place your order.
Yeah.
Or even I'll show you how to do it. Go get a license and let's do it show love. I love to see the Bahamas benefit from Aragonite or sand or anything for that matter.
Yeah. My Mr. Curlin.
And that's all Bahamians under the sound of my voice.
Yes.
Because there are enough sand out there for the whole country with that kind of pricing.
Yeah.
That's no lie.
Right.
But the Bahamas would really be rich, and everybody in the Bahamas would really be rich.
So to tie your conversation in with what Mr. Tinker was talking about in terms of...
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Tinker. What you want to add to this?
I just wanted to say, he says, so are you at your location, do you operate a dredging machine?
Oh, I operate excavators and barges.
No, I'm saying the way you mine for this, are you just you digging it with a barge, grabbing from the sea bottom?
I dig it with an excavator very carefully. It's like when you mine Aragonite, it's like you are mooring like a lawn. You cannot go too deep, like how ocean even deep. And the water got cooler down there, and the Aragonite would not form on grass. I would say in my experience, 15 feet is the deepest you should go because you got to keep the water at a certain temperature so that the Aragonite could replenish itself.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys are selling for, how much do you sell it for a ton?
$25.
Okay, for example, here, we have types of Aragonite, and when I would go to install someone's septic, we use something called septic sand. It's also dredged out. And that sells here for $18 a ton. Wow. So you get a 21-ton truck, you get a total of 20 yards, 20 tons of that. So even here, buying the raw material is pretty comparable to the price, whether it's shell rock, septic sand, or the different type of aggregates. But what the gentleman's referring to, if you want to buy this sand at the $20 a ton, send it to a facility and grade through it and take the different minerals and stuff out of that sand to get to $100 a ton, well, the operational cost is going to be very high to get to the final product that you want. And that's in anything. Even if you look at Brazil is probably one of the largest deposits of natural resources, but Brazil's problem has always been trying to get to it and trying to industrialize it, and they don't have the money to do it.
Yeah. And I think one of the advantages of
that's a very good statement.
Yeah, the advantages of our Aragonite, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Curlin, is we don't have as many impurities in our Aragonite, correct? As some other places.
It's most of it is almost pure. Like the Aragonite itself, the oolitic Aragonite, is almost a pure stage.
Right.
If you can grind it into powder, and maybe there is a market for that kind of thing,
but that's something we would have to establish.
That's something that's something established, right? As we speak.
So, Mr. Curlin, have you ever heard of anyone legitimately trying to create some type of manufacturing here in the Bahamas utilizing the Aragonite that you're mining?
Every time it comes around, what happens is the electricity cost is too high to bear the bulk of it in terms of the energy is just too high in the Bahamas, so
it defeats the purpose.
It's got to go to a place where the energy cost is not as much as it is here.
Yeah.
But there are people out there, there are scientists out there trying to put some things in motion for sales of Aragonite, like in the plastic industry, like in the powder industry, like in the chicken feed industry, like in the bone industry. Because remember, again, the Aragonite is almost pure calcium. So when the chickens eat it, the shell of the eggs is a little bit harder. And they feed it to the chickens. And you put it under the lime tree, it acts as a fertilizer. And in the United States, Aragonite is competing with limestone. limestone is very cheap in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So very little of that market you're going to get in the Aragonite business, even though it's a better product. But the economics of it just don't work that well with some farmers.
Right.
Because you got to pay that cost of $20, $25 here. Then you got to ship it there. And then the cost of limestone over there is minimal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy. So I'm happy you're sharing. So I'm just curious as to find out where some of these forecasters are getting these numbers from. They talking global. They ain't just talking about the Bahamas.
It's the selling the finished product is the problem. They're giving you the price of the finished
making
product.
The finished product.
They're not giving you the price on the on the process. The amount of money is going to create the industry and process it. You got to minus all that out, and then when you do the math, okay, well, what am I getting from the finished product? Should we just sell it the way it is, or should we go through this entire process and sell it, and then you end up with the same profit as selling it in bulk?
Right.
The numbers never lie. You always got to look at the numbers.
No, and listen. So I've listened to this Aragonite discussion for years. You know. So I'm happy to have someone in the industry, and I wanted him to call to give his, real life experience, in the industry. Anything else you want?
Go ahead. I was going to say to him too. Look at the salt that we collect and scrape, and Morton Salt sells it. They sell that raw salt because I have to use it for my water system here. They sell 40 pounds of that pellet salt. For it's $9 a bag for 40 pounds.
Okay.
And then they sell cookings in the store. I think it's a pound or the little red blue box.
Yeah.
And that's almost $2 and some change.
Yeah.
But then when you go right to Nassau, where this company has been mining this stuff forever, the salt is 3-4 times the price.
Yeah, then you could get it. Then you could get that same salt in Rocket Island for free.
For free, right? Oh, yeah, right. That's exactly. I just talked to Elder who told me he used to rig the salt ponds as a little boy. Yeah.
So there is added value that could be added to the product, but that's a story for a different day.
So I would like to hear, people who are serious about, getting the Bahamas to realize the potential of the Aragonite. To present some plans on refining it, but producing the products that would allow for us to realize these billion-dollar numbers. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Yeah.
Government subsidies is very important to push new industries forward. Is through government subsidies. The government
there still has to be a market. That when you
that too
refine this thing,
right?
That you could go back and you could go in that market and realize the profit.
Right.
Right.
Well, Mr. Curlin,
you just can't hope for the market. And they'll come. Doesn't work in every market.
Yeah. Man, I wish I had you on the Zoom, Mr. Curlin, so you could stay on for the whole conversation. But I appreciate.
Well, we get together another day when I'll possibly even have a scientist to enlighten people in the Bahamas on what Aragonite really is and what it could do.
Well, I got your number. We can make that show happen sooner than later.
So long as you're ready, just give me a call.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That's James Curlin. He is an expert there in the Aragonite field with regard to dredging the Aragonite. And like I talked to him last week, Wednesday, he called the end of the show. And we started to have this conversation. So I wanted to get that on the record. I have with me Dr. Tinker. I see that we do have some calls, so I'm going to get to the calls. I got some texts for you, Dr. Tinker. People are asking about what type of wood material should we be using, things like that. So we're going to get to that right after the break. Keep it locked here on Guardian Radio today.
Everything is bigger and better at Burger King Nassau when you have a big appetite? BK has a royal deal for you. Get a flame-grilled Double Big King Jr. or an original chicken sandwich, plus 4 chicken nuggets, small fries, a drink, and a fresh baked cookie for only $9.95, including VAT. The royal deal was built for a big appetite, and at $9.95, including VAT, it's a steal of a deal. Go big and enjoy the BK flavors you love with the $9.95 royal deal at Burger King Nassau.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 3237.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio Today, the October 7th edition. My name is Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. My special guest today, Dr. Rudolph Tinker. There's a man that wears many hats, and so we've been talking, the flooding that's been going on in the country, the type of building materials, and we even had Mr. James Curlin call in to give his facts on the Aragonite. But we got some calls. Let's run straight to the phone lines, and then we'll get to the text. Call you live on Guardian Radio Today.
Yes, good day.
How you doing, man?
I'm all right. You know, with resources, right? All resources,
yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The fish, the quarry,
mm-hmm.
or the limestone,
mm-hmm.
the sand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these resources are exploited by the wealthy, and whether they foreigners or native, they're still wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my father was a millionaire, and it was true. He was a trucker.
Okay.
You understand? He was able to send us to private school and university.
Right.
For a family of 9 children.
Wow.
You understand me? My father had $1 million in assets. So Mr. Curlin, he's the same.
Mm-hmm.
He was bigger than my father. So and they all exploit these resources, and only a few of them benefit from it.
But Mr. Curlin just said you could come down there and
no, but what I'm saying, he ain't giving me no sand for free. You realize every concrete that's poured, a percentage of that was something like 30% of that is sand.
So you want to
how much concrete is poured in this country, and how much the man who don't own a house gets from that?
You want him to dredge the sand and give it to you for free?
What I'm saying, it belongs to all Bahamians. It doesn't just belong to people.
But it's a cost to get the sand.
You understand me? So that's what I'm saying. It's resources, and everybody benefiting from the resources.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the fish, right? Look how much fish comes out of the sea. You got the foreigners eating more fish.
So you want the fisherman get the fish and give it?
No, the fish belongs to us.
But you think the fisherman who take his gas, who buy his boat?
So don't cut me off now.
I just asking the question. Go ahead.
What you saying? It's like privatization of Batelco and BPL and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And call it Bahamian own.
So here's my thing, caller.
You see?
The spirit of the conversation, I do appreciate the spirit of what you're saying, right? I just want us to be responsible when we having the conversation, so that we could actually get somewhere. You understand?
Right. See what you were saying, right? Is that what you are arguing, right? Is that the resources only belong to the people who can.
No, let me tell you what my main argument is. We don't have freedom of information in this country, so we don't really know what we're talking about. We could run around in circles, and the people who really know sit back and they laugh because we don't really know.
But we know about the fish. We see the people getting this fish. You understand me? And we see the fish being exported. communities have fish houses.
Yeah.
We see the fish being exported, but we can't buy fish in the food store or in the delis or at Burger King or McDonald's. We get
that's up for the government. The government needs to put a stop to that. I mean, the government could do that. The government could just say, hey, listen, until we hit surplus levels, no exportation of local products. Which
that same neoliberalism that we failed to debate in this country. They do what our government has done. They've gone from the progressive parties, this one, and privatize public assets. And say to us that they offering us shares, and 50% of it. They offering us shares.
But this
and
why
call that Bahamian ownership. Yes, Bahamian ownership to those who can afford it, the wealthy, the minority. You see?
No,
but one more thing.
Go ahead.
I want to digress a bit.
Go ahead.
But the biggest thing in the news today is about this deal with the Philippines. This freedom of workers in the Philippines, something that it seems like I'm the only person that advocates for free immigration union within the Caribbean that 4 nations did just this week or a week before.
Yeah.
And we as Bahamians refuse to do that. And the reason I see is that when we do this immigration union, then we don't have to be given, then we could deal with our birthright citizenship as a small nation where we don't have to give people that need us for economics. We don't need to give them our passport. You understand what I'm saying? See, and we refuse to, we want to do is make excuses for, what we do? We assume what the government means without the transparency. And I asked the minister, the candidate for prime minister for the FNM yesterday about why we're not having a debate about privatization rather than the transparency in the privatization. And he skated around that and the host didn't ask him to answer that.
Yeah. Well, we have the Freedom of Information Act, but it's not been actualized.
No, but see, the Freedom of Information Act, the Freedom of Information is not as important as the debate of whether we should privatize it or not. This is the conversation we are not having. You see?
I hear you, caller.
And then what we do, we say, we got some Bahamian ownership. Bahamian ownership, that still doesn't benefit the Bahamian. That benefit a few. Do you know who they are, these Bahamians who benefit? The benefits the house slaves.
I appreciate your call, man. I hear the sentiments of you and others who are you're frustrated, right? You're trying to figure out how everybody's going to get a piece of this pie. You understand? Let's try to get this last call in before we go to the news. Live on Guardian Radio today. Caller going once. All right, so I guess they'll call back after the news. Let me get some text in here. Dr. Tinker, I had one texter here who says, they building flat because it's cheap.
Well, there you go. Well, being cheap and effective. You can't have a foolish man build his house on top of sand. So
yes.
If that's what you want to do with your few dollars, build cheap and then get washed away. Don't complain when you flood out.
Yeah. Another texter says, what type of wood materials we should use in the roof? Because you said that we shouldn't be
anything. If you're framing your house out of wood, or you're building the roof trusses and you're using plywood, all that should be something called as yellow pine. Yellow pine is a harder type of wood. Yellow pine is the original form of the wood once it's cut. It's yellow. Okay? If you look up pressure treated wood and you look up the definition that what it's supposed to do, it's only supposed to be used in low level areas where there's a chance that water's going to hit it, because that's the reason why it was designed. Because it has chemical inside of it that inhaling them over a period of time is very bad.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very bad. I mean, if you go in a lumber yard or anywhere they sell lumber in Nassau and just go in an area where they store pressure treated wood, you couldn't even stay around there long enough to breathe it.
Wow.
It's very dangerous.
Wow,
So I don't know why and how the government allows that to be in ceilings and the roof and
then we wonder why the cancer,
the house because,
the cancer is so high in this country.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, so those things they need to look at again and see, okay, what are people, these builders, and look at the type of materials that people are using to build down there, because it's going to have long-term repercussions.
Yeah. Well, we got to
and on top of that, the pressure-treated wood it costs even more money than yellow pine. Yellow pine is cheaper.
Okay, and where's that source from?
That where all the guys in the Bahamas, the lumber yards, either they get it out of the U.S., they get it out of Brazil, or they get it from various parts of the world. But mainly, most of the lumber in the Bahamas comes either from the U.S., Canada, or Brazil.
Gotcha. We're going to run to a break and get to the news here on Guardian Radio today. We're talking flooding, we're talking construction, we're talking resources. My name is Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. My special guest, Dr. Rudolph Tinker. We'll be back right after this on Guardian Radio today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at all locations, excluding the airport and food truck.
This October, let's come together for hope, support, and strength.
It's the Sister Breast Cancer Support Group Dollar Day, happening Friday, October 17th from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., right on the Nassau Guardian grounds, Carter Street.
And the best part? With just $1, you can help make a difference in the fight against breast cancer. Every dollar counts toward awareness, education, and support for women battling this disease.
Come out, drop $1, and stand with us for a cause that touches so many lives.
Join us on Friday, October 17th from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and let's turn every dollar into hope.
That's the Sister Breast Cancer Dollar Day, proudly sponsored by the Guardian Media Group, Star 106.5 and Guardian Radio 96.9.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Cahun Anku. Yesterday, Dr. Rudolph Tinker. And, we've been talking flooding and how we can mitigate it. We were talking about how pine wood continuously floods, and you gave some suggestions about finding low-lying areas. Having the government utilize their eminent domain policy to move the houses in the low-lying area, use that as a retention pond, and then have those people build elsewhere. Well, I have a text that says, good afternoon, your caller makes a lot of sense with buying out probably most of Pinewood. Problem is, most persons in Pinewood already finished their mortgages, and houses cost less than $80,000 back then. Imagine telling those people after they spent thousands buying furniture every time it's spry that they now have to find a new home and pay from scratch because a house in a swamp will not appraise for much. What say you, Dr. Tinker? Is he there? I think you may be on mute. All right, let's try to get him back up. All right, so
it's called due process.
Okay, sorry, he's there. So start again. You said what?
Yeah. So it's called due process. So based on the current market value is what the government would have to offer that person for their home and their furnishings to relocate so they can go and find someplace else. It's not going to be what you might want the asking price to be, but it's going to be a comparative price based on today's value and not what you paid 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Okay, so no, it's not going to be that. It's going to be based on the current market assessed value. Whatever the government assess the property at, that's what they'll give you.
Okay.
What they should give you, so you could move on. And I mean, and the government's in the business of building houses anyhow, so they could probably just build another community somewhere and relocate these people. But when you look at when you look at what eminent domain does, it will provide a benefit and a relief to the majority of the people living in these low-lying areas by knocking some of those houses down.
Right. Because I mean, it's just horrible.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah. 323-6232325-4316 325-4259 in the family of islands 242.
I just want to make
300-5720.
No, go ahead, man.
Go ahead, my brother.
So I want to make this last comment on pressure treated. So just so you know, many things that come into the Bahamas, especially when it comes from the U.S., you have export only and American.
Right.
The export only is much cheaper because it's made with a lot of garbage.
Wow.
That doesn't meet the code to use in building products here. For example, in 2004, they just stopped putting arsenic, which is a carcinogen, in pressure treated wood in 2004 to be used in the United States.
Wow.
So if you know what arsenic is,
yes,
this is some serious stuff. This is bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And they just outlawed that in the United States in 2004, but only for products that are used here.
But they could pass through and
come
to
us. Products that are being exported, they go under a totally different process, which is the process of that country. So if the Bahamas doesn't have a ban on arsenic being used in pressure treated wood, then y'all don't know what y'all getting now. Because if you understand what pressure treated is, it's a wood that's treated under high pressure with pesticides and preservative to resist the wood from rotting under where it's in a moist area or there to preserve that wood, including arsenic. So like I said, this should not be used in areas like that. So I'm going to end my argument on there. Just in case
well, let's see what they call it.
Hey, you got pressure treated. That's good. It's bad, man.
Let's see what they call
it.
It's
bad. And the last thing is, go ahead.
Go ahead. Let's see what the callers. Let's see what the callers have to say. Caller, you're live here on Guardian Radio today.
Oh, good day. How you doing?
I'm great, man.
Okay, good show today, and
thank you.
I was listening intently to what Dr. Tinker has to say, and he makes a lot of sense. Not only does Pinewood Garden floods, there is lots of other areas, but mainly two. In the Bel Air constituency of Carmichael Road, there's a huge flooding problems there for years now. And back in 2001, there was a complaint every time when it rains, not only with heavy rains, regular rains, a certain part of the area, which is probably the lowest point, like what Dr. Tinker said, it floods.
Wow.
And there is an area that was there, which is on a little hilly area, which was located deep down in the back of a park. And for some reason, the hilly area was cut down.
See?
And quarry taken out.
Quarry. See, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was taken out. So I don't think that made any sense, because all it did was it hurt the residents, because now there were massive flooding. So, a lot of persons were just concentrating on Pinewood Garden. But Bel Air Estates, a certain portion of it, always flood as well. And the same thing where persons lose furniture and stuff like that, same thing happens just about every year with heavy rains. So it's not only Pinewood what we concentrate on, and only the poor people feeling the brunt of this. Yeah. But I don't think that hill on the park should have been taken down.
Go ahead, Dr. Tinker.
No, stay on the line. The reason why I said that, because I never like to talk about something I don't know about. I seen Pinewood myself, visually flooding, because I have an aunt that lives there who probably moved there, I think in the 80s, and it's been flooding. So that's why I didn't mention any other areas, because I don't know. But the remedy that I offered, that is.
I understand.
I've seen some new neighborhoods off of I think it's Harrell Road.
Yes. And then too, Dr. Tinker, I don't know if anybody knows St. Vincent Road. Before time, that road never used to flood like how it floods now. With these sidewalks, these high sidewalks where the water had to, was able to run off. With these sidewalks, they're doing more harm than good.
Wow.
So all of that needs to be looked into.
Wow.
Not just to give persons a job to do, but all of these sidewalks, UFOP areas would never flood. And they're flooding now because of these sidewalks were just to give persons contracts and stuff like that. So the government needs leadership.
Yeah.
Would go and look out for their people.
Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you, too.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to the phone lines. Get this next caller. Caller, you're live on Guardian Radio today.
Yes. Good afternoon to both of you. To see Alan Johnson.
Well, trying to get you earlier. Anyway, next time.
Just let me touch on maybe two major points, but on the billing aspect, I'll touch on that another day.
Yeah.
But the problem we have in the Bahamas, and we cry about these floodings, is a water management issue. You have countries like Australia, China, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Jordan, Korea, Netherlands, Oman, Qatar, Spain, Asia, South America. All of these people are dealing with water management issues, more so for preservation of our water sources, such as what we have from rain, due to what we claim to be global warming, global melting, climate change, whatever it is, as part of a water issue. And so what we have is not a water issue, but a lack of a strategy to deal with it. Opportunity concerning what's called MAR, managed aquifer recharging, that is absolutely necessary here in the Bahamas as well as in the region. And so, we somehow always look for the easy way out, but if the Bahamas is going to be around for the next 100 years, I think that we would have some short, medium, and long term dealing with it. But you have countries, the one good one thing is like take Bermuda as an example. They don't have no natural water supply, but they utilize those same rains and things that come as part of it. You could look at countries around the world that does water management as opposed to these elaborate or small environment type thing. So hopefully one day our leadership will think a little broader, a little deeper, considering that we're in a knowledge era and information is there for it to be comprehended and for strategies to be developed more specifically to the things that we face and more specifically to the environment that we live in rather than copying things around. But the main thing I want to talk to you about is for to support Curlin in his position. Right? Now, one of the biggest things when we talk about natural resources in the Bahamas is 125 to 150 of them. But
you said there's 125 of them resources.
Again?
I just wanted to be clear. You said there's 125 different resources.
Maybe more.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Because what people don't understand is that when you have to talk about airspace and shipwreck and crown land, we have the blue holes, the crystal caves, we have stromatolites, the original, or supposed to be origin on life. We actually have a space above our air line, which is space. We have the limestone. We have carbon credits. We have DNA in our plants. We have DNA in our animals, because even quality of what can be kept. We have the RNA. We have alkaline mud. We have the potential of oil. We have the potential of gas. We believe it or not, we do have a fresh water supply. Our seabed has value, fishery, sunshine. I mean, I could go on. Then when you begin to go to the other plants and stuff that you begin to talk about it, that moves into the coppice and the mangroves. But people find usually the low-hanging fruit. to make noise about. And so this is when you move into the aspect of the of what we like to say Aragonite. But if you ask most of these so-called experts, they can't tell you the difference between what do you mean by when I say Aragonite or when I say limestone or when I say aggregates. They probably can't. They probably can't explain it to you. So what they do is they have borrowed ideas for political. They prey on the ignorance and the hurt of individuals who believe that it is worth more. Most people would not even Google to find out that the Aragonite industry globally is probably less than $2 billion, but they expect that the Bahamas itself will produce $40 billion a year to give to them so they don't have to work. But when you talk about the types of Aragonite, there is a host of different types of Aragonite: oolitic Aragonite, biogenic Aragonite, speculatum, hydroterminal, pyrolistic. It's so many different types of Aragonite. The Bahamas have a certain amount of them. And each one of them has its own purpose. Each one of them has its own process that has to go through in dealing with it. In the same capacity where we have different variations of the limestone that is in the world, which also, believe it or not, the oolitic limestone is not the same as the oolitic Aragonite. And then when you talk about all of these different things, is understanding what is it exactly we have in exploitation. Mr. Curlin is correct concerning the billions of tons. Billions of tons is actually deposited here. And we hear people use the word sand, and there's a different sand. There's a significant difference in the sand that's produced in the Bahamas, about 12 to 20 tons per year, which is totally different than the tons of Aragonite that's available in here. And it's different than the limestone and the calcite and things that possibly.
So my thing is CA, right? I'm C. Allen, right? Can we realize the actual value of the Aragonite? Are we in a position to actually put in place mechanisms whereby we can either create the product that could be sold to a particular market?
Absolutely.
Like the aquarium market, the aquarium sand market, et cetera. Right.
But when you move into the aquarium market, see, the point is that you have institutions, you have places in the marketplace already, and you have access. We're not the only place in the world to have. A good example you can learn from is, I think, Jamaica, with its bauxite, and Jamaica took a particular position. They chose not to buy from Jamaica, which caused the collapse of that particular industry there. And so you're not going to have people who's going to move it away and bend over for you to come in and tell them that you're going to push them out and take them out of the place.
So we don't control them actually being, even though we may have the product, they don't have to let us into their market, is what you're saying.
No, right, they don't. But at the same time, believe it or not, we need the limestone and the Aragonite more than we need to export it. We need it for our very survival. These are equivalent of hearts and lungs and kidneys and stuff that we are saying, oh, yeah, I'll sell my heart because I could use the money. It's kind of like madness. And so when you talk about climate change and global warming and stuff, that we need to shore up the Bahamas. So you may have 1.5 billion long tons of Aragonite in the Little Bahama Bank. Okay, good question. How much of that Aragonite you need to shore up the Bahamas? It's going to be just 100,000 tons that you need, or whatever? Or do you need the whole 1.5 billion long tons, for which you can't go and mine it all in one go, because you're talking about preserving the very environment that you have. And so in the same capacity, we could exploit the intellectual properties of the other resources that we have. But what we have to have is a sensible conversation of exactly.
Yeah, and so I really
what are they?
Go ahead. Yeah, because see what I want to do is have a show where I know Mr. Curlin said he wanted to bring on a scientist. I want you to be in, because you're polymath. You can bring some different perspectives of people in. And
nope. Can I say something? I've actually been involved in the business, and so I it's not.
Yeah, so it's not just information. You have experience, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yes, I do. And so I understand the potential of all the different markets. And one of the companies that was involved here, we looked at all of those different things that we talk about, whether it be from plastic, from geopolymer, from using it in the glass, from using it for cleaning in the power plants. We looked at all of those things, even for the use of it in fracking. But then it had to be looked in concerning the volume we can produce versus the demand that has to be met. And when you have a person that asks you, they're not going to say, bring me a pound today and a pound tomorrow. You have to be able to keep a sustained output to them.
Right.
And we can't do it without destroying the Bahamas itself. Wow. And so if you want to get rid of all of your reefs and other different things, you can't. So even when you look at the possibility that Aragonite can be used to solve destruction and stuff, it's still being examined. Yeah. So we have to look at the value for our preservation as opposed to profiting, for it. And so this is why, people like the Coalition of Independence and the others that existed before, I listen to it, and people say it's garbage. I say it's garbage juice.
Well, thank you, CA. Alan, listen, we got to get to some other calls. The natural resources, I ain't gonna never stop talking about it because I know we gonna find a way to make sure that everybody gets a piece of this pie. You know what I mean? Let's run to the next caller, and Dr. Tinker, I can bring you back in. Next caller, you're live here on Guardian Radio today.
Yes, good afternoon, Uncle Sarah and Dr. Tinker.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm fine,
Hello.
thanks. Dr. Tinker, I think you're onto something. I made mention of this some years ago. The government will have to purchase all the homes in Pinewood. What they could do is the mostly dense populated area that floods, right? Purchase those particular homes, build a retention pond. And Dr. Tinker, you're familiar with Okeechobee Road and Killian Drive, right?
I'm not hearing you too clear, but say it again.
I'm saying, are you familiar with Okeechobee Road and Killian Drive?
Where
they have those
Okeechobee Road?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do a small version of those pumps. When the water gets 3 to 4 inches, they automatically come on with a drainage system that take it right to those retention ponds. Problem solved.
That's called a lift station.
Yeah, but I'm saying
that basically
with
moves and channels the water
not
from
those
one location.
large pumps.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a nice day, guys.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah.
I wondered about that.
What he's referring to, I mean, that's down in Miami. So basically, what that whole area did, and like I said, when you fly over Florida, you will see all these water look-like structures, which are all man-made. So once the water gets into that drainage canal, and they got to keep the elevation of that water lower than the road. So once the elevation of that water gets too high, then the pump kicks on and shifts the water someplace else. Okay, because once the land is saturated, the road would wash away, your foundation will crack. So you're constantly moving water.
So these pumps,
and that's how the neighborhoods are built, by moving water around.
These pumps got to be connected to generator.
Go ahead.
These pumps got to be connected to generator. Because when the current off.
We don't use generators, man. No. FPL don't operate like that. Normally, these pumps have a backup generator, but they're connected straight to a live feed of electricity. Because that's considered to be a critical infrastructure. Yeah. That has to be up and running. If not, you flood the whole neighborhood out.
That's my next.
And who's going to pay for that? The government's going to pay for that.
Yeah, you got the lift station there, and then the pumps don't kick in. So we got to make sure we got the electricity flowing.
And right, and also too, when you have your environmentalists telling you, hey, we have 3-4 inches of rain coming. Let's get ready for the rain. So what they do, they pump the canals dry. They send all that water into Lake Okeechobee or into the ocean, so the canals are ready to receive all the water that's coming, and it keeps the neighborhood dry.
Okay. Do we have a caller?
So that's how those things work. They work like clockwork. Go ahead.
This texter says, Dr. Tinker is making the most sense I've ever heard. Building high, knock some houses down, make a reservoir. So you got people out there who are in agreement with what you're saying. Let's go to the caller here on Guardian.
Renwood Wells was, he said he was an engineer, and he would have been in government for 15 whatever plus years. And I saw a video where he talked about drilling wells. He would drill a well in the ground for the water to run into the well. I've never heard that in my life, but if he could drill a well and the water could recede in the well, good luck for him.
And here's the full scope of I guess that suggestion that he has. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Call your life.
Yeah, good morning, Anku.
How you doing,
and good morning, Dr. Tinker.
Morning,
there's some interesting points you're raising, Dr. Tinker. You know, I made these recommendations a week prior to you right here on Guardian. You know, and one of the key things I said was, which you stated already, is that the government have to decide exactly first what they want to do with the water. And that is key. And I suggested the same type of system, you know, but my point that I also made, also, in order for this thing to work effectively, Dr. Tinker, we got to clean the area up. It cannot work if we have particles blocking the flow, the constant flow or easy flow of our water. And it's going to be an expensive exercise, which I thought, but the reality is we got to do a better job with preparing for all of this rain by keeping the areas clean, green, and pristine. That's the only way it can work. If not, we'll still have the problem with blockage, etc., and etc. But maybe we could use that pumping all out to the sea.
Yes.
We could use this water. We could build these homes to have reservoirs underneath their houses to secure some of this water and to use it for irrigation purposes and whatever other purpose we want to use it for. You just shouldn't just pump it all out to the sea.
Exactly. So let me give you an example of that. So in many cases, when you build these retention ponds or these canals, during the dry season, many of the homeowners, they would run a 2-inch pipe or 3-inch pipe that could connect into those reservoirs and use that water for irrigation.
Exactly. But I was very surprised.
Suck that water right out and use it for irrigation. Yeah, we do it here all the time.
Those engineers be listening to Guardian Radio and these shows slow, because I find it rather ironic that shortly after these comments would have been echoed, they came up with the same type of system that they prepared to do. But I believe the government on taxpayers shouldn't be putting all of this bill. The private developers need to put some of these.
This is strictly the government undertaking, because they were the ones that allow builders to go in there, didn't do elevation surveys, didn't do proper site surveys, and didn't do basically the basic urban planning. How do I build a new country?
See, this where the argument is going to start, because the government didn't do it, and I, as a taxpayer who have nothing to do with it, should put the bill while the developers.
No, the government should put it.
Walk off scot-free.
I agree. The developer is still talking about. If the developer is still around, then the developer should be able to. Well, you would have to sue the developer to pay back into this particular fund to redevelop it. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, that's it. But they need to put exactly how it's going to be paid for, because it's an expensive exercise. But but I believe that developers, those land, whoever what you call them, parents, etc. They should start. Government, should make them develop these things, put these proper systems, drainage systems in place before they even sell a piece of land. That's how it works. In other countries, I'm sure it works in other jurisdictions like this.
Meanwhile, though, every time it floods, the people in Pinewood paying. That's the sad part. They buying furniture.
They're paying because they're replacing the furniture.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But let's see. I think that $20 million just for Pinewood Garden alone is a bit pricey. But not only Pinewood, we should look at building homes into other correcting this flooding. But then the sad reality is we didn't even have to do this, because growing up as a young man, I saw was in a prone flooded area. But like I said,
exactly.
They cut down all the trees.
Yep, and
they cut down all of the fill, land space that water and drops right on the ground, and nothing to containerize the water. But that's we beat this kind of down.
Yeah.
And you also in new urban planning, you also have to keep green areas. You got to keep areas that are designed as a green space, but really it's an undercover retention pond where the water sits. Because if you just have houses everywhere, no green spaces, well, you're gonna flood like crazy. So it's a lot of urban planning goes into future development. Yeah.
You're spot on, and it's a good discussion, Anku, and hopefully we can get some results.
I pray, because I feel for those people every time it rains. I think about, their heart must sink. Their heart must sink when they hear that it's going to rain, because they know what they got to deal with.
But it goes straight back to Anku. It goes straight back to us operating the country for 52 years ad hoc and without having a national development plan. And it's just unbelievable. You need a plan, a permit to build a wall, but you don't need nothing to run a country. You just run it from the top of your head. It's just unbelievable, man. And then on top of that, what makes it even worse? When we electing these individuals, we elect them from rallies, cracking jokes, as opposed to having community live debates where all candidates who are vying for a particular constituency, we pair up against one another and you debate these issues and you discuss them to see whether they can think critically on their feet, to see whether they have common sense and intelligence, and to find out these things, to see whether they have the attitude and the aptitude to be elected to the highest office in the land, which is the highest elected office in the land, which is a member of parliament. But we don't do these things. We elect them from rallies, cracking, then we discuss them intelligently like we're doing now after the fact. It's just wrong.
Yeah. Thank you, Cleveland. We're going to run to a break here on Guardian Radio today. Our special guest, Dr. Rudolph Tinker. My name is Kahun Anku.
I agree.
We're going to be right back after the break. Keep it locked.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
This October, let's come together for hope, support, and strength.
It's the Sister Breast Cancer Support Group Dollar Day, happening Friday, October 17th from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the grounds of the Nassau Guardian, Carter Street, Oaksville.
And the best part? With just $1, you can help make a difference in the fight against breast cancer. Every dollar counts towards awareness, education, and support for women battling this disease.
Come on out, drop $1 and stand with us for a cause that touches so many lives.
Join us on Friday, October 17th from 7 to 10 a.m. and let's turn every dollar into hope.
That's the Sister Breast Cancer Dollar Day, proudly sponsored by the Guardian Media Group, Star 106.5 and the Guardian Radio 96.9.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today. Our special guest, Dr. Rudolph Tinker. My name is Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. This texter says, I do not understand why we keep pushing Aragonite. I do not understand why we keep pushing Aragonite. If it were so Bahamians and foreigners alike knocking at our door to mine it. No one is presently mining it. The reason? They can't make any money. 3 companies were in the Aragonite business at Ocean Key. Each sold because it was not profitable. No one took over from the last company. What more needs to be said? I've heard that argument. You know, what say you, Dr. Tinker?
Listen, you know, there. If you do something long enough, sometimes it becomes profitable. But like mining the natural resources of something, it could be used in so many different variations. But every variation requires some sort of industry.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the biggest thing with these things. You need people to know what to do. You need manufacturers set up. You need machinery. You need this the land, labor, and capital. That's the 3 components of economics. You need it. So right now we have the land.
Right.
You need the labor and the capital to make it to make it work. But as we were on the break, I was actually brainstorming in my head really a very good plan for Pinewood, which I'm thinking here, because Pinewood's close to South Beach, right? That's it's close to that's where the ocean is on that side.
Yep.
So really, if you look at it, if they would build a huge retaining wall, just a retaining wall, because I'll give you an example. So in Florida, they had this lake called Lake Okeechobee, which is the largest lake in Florida, and I think 100 years ago, because of torrential rain, the lake overflowed and wiped out all the areas that were sitting close to this lake, and created cities like wiped out areas called Belglade, Clewiston, is where Bahamian farmers, contract guys used to go and work. This flood came and destroyed that whole area up there. And what the Army Corps of Engineers decided to do to avoid this from happening again, they decided to push the lake about a few miles inward by building a huge retaining wall, which keeps the water in. But they made it very high to ensure that it doesn't overflow. And if it does overflow, then they have a huge drainage canal. So if you look at the South Beach corridor there where that water is down there, if they build a huge retaining wall, and not just out of concrete, but like these, we call them sheet pile metal, that can go about 20, 30 feet in the ground, because you want a strong wall. So it'll be like a big, almost like a berm around that whole corridor. Put your retainage ponds in South Beach, connected to when it rains, the overflow of that water can then bleed into a part of the ocean over there.
Well, they have canals.
Because the water is salty. They have canals there already, but I'm talking about getting the water out of
I understand.
Pinewood area. Or wherever it floods. You know, that would be probably a very, I mean, it's not quick, but it'll be a rapid solution to do that, where you could pump that water right in there.
Let's take this call here.
You know what I mean? In a particular part of that area.
No, I hear you loud and clear. Caller, you live here on Guardian Radio today.
Hey, good afternoon, brother, all is well?
I'm well, my brother.
And good afternoon to your brothers. I want to weigh in as a contractor and
please.
As a family with successful contracting businesses and building airports in this country, the Bahamas. Let me say something to you. Let me say something to all the listeners. Some might get mad, and if you understand where I'm coming from, you wouldn't get mad. The government needs to put their foot down and get some sort of retribution from our WAC homes. Let me say why I say that. First of all,
I didn't want to say it, but you did. Go ahead.
When they develop that land,
don't get us in trouble now.
When they develop that land, I ain't scared to say what I say. I say that to the people who own our WAC homes. But anyway, when they develop that land, right? They know that was swamp land. They didn't even raise the land. Let me give you a prime example. When Atlantis was building, you remember they started with that was Hog Island with all of that water and stuff. What they did, they had to fill in that.
So
they didn't even raise the land.
Let me stop you for 2 seconds, because when I did the research on this, they said that the initial development was in 1972, right, by Pinewood Gardens Limited, a company led by a foreign investor named Robert Petrie.
Cool.
This company sold approximately 200 of the original 3,500 lots.
Okay.
And then, then in 1983, the affordable housing development in 1983, the remaining 3,305 lots were purchased by WAC Homes Limited.
Okay, now, the remaining lots, from my experience as being a builder, and you buy those lots, you buy that parcel of land, shouldn't you have a land inspection on that land to see if that's wetland, to see if that land has, if you have to fill that land in?
It should be properly surveyed.
Okay, then. So
surveyed.
when you look at this, right, there is somewhere and there's somehow that the developers have to take some, well, we all know we heading in climate change, the water table rising, but the developers have to take some sort of responsibility, brother.
So wouldn't the people in that area have to bring forth some type of class act to kind of force the hand of the developer?
The government could do that.
I don't know what type of action they to do, but I was busy that day when they had that town hall meeting because I wanted to say something. I really wanted to express myself like this because it's not fair. It's not fair on those persons in Pinewood, that's first, and it's not fair on any government, past and now present.
Successive
because
governments,
our homes, those developers, they have to take some sort of retribution and responsibilities, brothers.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. But the government can bring the action. The government can bring the action.
And I hope they do. I hope they do. I hope that I can sit down and talk to some people in the movers and shakers of this country, and they will do some sort of retribution to them developers. You know, and guess what? Listen to me. When we did a major development in this country, I'm not going to say what place that was, right? We had to raise the ground. We had to get, I think, the cement, right? We had to get a certain type of cement because we were putting up making forms, right? For units to go on top.
Right.
When you're doing these things and these developers, too much is shortcuts in this country. You know why? Because plan to you. And you work in the ministry. And because I is your friend, you know that, hey, this ain't enough cement to pour the second floor. But because I bring you that plan, boom, you ain't worried. But what happens now? And same thing with private gardens. This is what you call repercussions. This is what you call the long-term effect of the developers. But brothers, y'all have a nice day.
You too, man.
Hey, bro.
Hey.
I listen to you a lot, right? But this a topic. This ain't got nothing to do with no politics.
No, this
type of topic. I love to speak because I speak as a Bahamian, mommy and dad, someone who contributes, pays and supports people.
Yeah.
So I feel for them people in Pinewood.
Me
Trust
too.
me.
Me too.
All right. Y'all have a nice day, brothers.
Thank you, man. My question would be.
No, he listen.
Let me just say this.
Go ahead.
My question would be: how would the original initial developer be affected by that?
The initial developer is long gone. The guy who built the majority of the homes, who's still in the Bahamas and operating, the government should bring some action against him to mitigate this and say, hey, okay, you built all these homes, the chain of documents. Who signed what, where, and where? Where is the site plan? Where's the site survey? Well,
that's Freedom of Information
who
Act
designated
again.
But let me say something on freedom of information.
Please.
You say that a lot, and a lot of Bahamians are interested. Just know, even if it's passed, they can redact 90% of the document and give it to you, and you couldn't read it.
Yes, I've
so
seen
even
that.
if you get Freedom of Information Act, just know it's not like, okay, well here's the letter with everything on it. No, they can redact tons of it because the government still has the control to release what they want to. But in the case of this situation, the government should bring action, and the people could bring action through something called a petition. If all of them sign a petition, give it to their member of parliament, who then takes it to the prime minister to bring to bring some resolution to this menacing area, because all these little things that they try to do is not working, because you need quality engineering plan to fix this problem.
Can't put
it's
no
not going to
Band-Aid.
fix overnight.
No,
you can't put a Band-Aid on this, because it's becoming worse
You need
and
surgery.
worse and worse.
You need surgery.
And moving forward, we need some urban planning. We need to start designating properties that are unbuildable, and take a look at our building code and start to change it, because we're seeing what's going on. You just can't keep going forward and then flood it.
In Texas City, original Pinewood developer only sold lots. Let's run back to the phone lines. They said the original Pinewood developer only sold lots. Okay, let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, man. This is Curlin again. I just want to speak to RWAC Home for a minute.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
RWAC Home or any other private developer, in my opinion, cannot be held responsible for Pinewood Garden. Excuse me. The person to be held responsible has to be the government. It is a government stamped and approved subdivision.
So they just come to
no
develop.
government, in my opinion, came in and took the responsibility to fix their mistake. If I go to the government and say, I want to make a subdivision here, and the government gives me their stamp of approval, whatever takes place after that, I think, and this is just my opinion, is a government issue.
You're right to a point. You're right to a point. But a builder should also recommend to them, he has it on record, say, hey, even though y'all giving me your site of approval, I'm letting you know the long-term conditions is this area is prone to flooding. These homes will flood.
The government rights was to go through whatever document that I provide them with, and they could have reject or accept. In this case, in Pinewood
I agree.
Garden,
Listen, I agree. I agree with you. But country just got independent. Things booming. The government wasn't that smart.
It doesn't matter.
I'm not calling the initial guys uneducated, but I'm just saying the builder should have also did some due diligence, even though he didn't have to, because the government said the area was approved and good to go. But the builder should have done due diligence and say, hey, listen, man, I'm a Bahamian. I build in these houses for Bahamian. We can't do this. We need to make some changes, because the country was a new country.
Right, but I'm only saying to you that the people cannot hold the builder not responsible when the government was overall in charge. The government.
I hear you. I
appreciate that point.
I agree with you to a point. But I still, as a person who live in Pinewood, would bring a petition against the builder also. Because why? The builder had to warranty that. Okay? The builder had to. So yeah, the government gave you the go ahead, but I bought the house from you, and you built my.
The government should be protecting its people. So when the government gives their stamp of approval, the government gives their stamp of approval to protect you, me, and everybody else.
That's a good point. I want to get some more calls in. Thanks, Mr. Curlin. Appreciate you chiming in. Let's get the next caller here on Guardian Radio today.
Hey, great show, how you doing?
Hi, great man.
Hey, right, I just would like to comment on certain topics, right? So this topic, one, right, the building code is that you have to build at least 2 feet above grade, which is under any standard situation would be appropriate. The problem is that the rising sea levels and everything is rising and causing humongous problems. The second thing I want to comment on, right, you cannot blame the builders for building in Pinewood area. One, right, at which point people can start using the practical sense. Think about it now. If you know Pinewood is flood, right, or certain areas are flood, why would you even purchase the property there? Think about it. You don't think at some
because you ain't got nowhere else to go on island.
People didn't know that, man. People didn't.
Not at that point.
Innocent, naive buyers. But now, in the 80s, naive idiots who don't know nothing about houses relied on the government to develop a community and relied on a reputable builder to build their house where this reputable builder didn't even do a floodplain survey. Come on, man.
No.
Hey, caller. Every 5 years, we end up changing governments. We must see naive voters here.
I mean, you know he's naive.
Go ahead. I ain't just to throw that in there. Go ahead.
One thing I would like to admit with him, right, and agree with him on, right, certain areas should not be built on for the fact of one. I'll give you one area, Gladstone Road, across from, you know where the Fields is? Well, I forget which subdivision. I think it's Jubilee Gardens, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jubilee Gardens, the dump right there. Mm-hmm. Nowhere in this world you're supposed to get approval. That's an environmental health risk. Mm-hmm. You come on now. No, they wrong for that one. Right? Now, also, right, you as the purchaser have the responsibility to do proper research when purchasing properties.
Yeah, but
I give you that.
Research
point.
Where? Hold on. Where you going to research? Hold on. Where you going to research?
Yeah, because you got no lot.
Where you going to research? Where you research in this country?
Okay, let me tell you something. You know what I do before I purchase a lot?
What?
Purchase the property, right? I normally go around there and drive in the nighttime.
Of course. Anytime after hard rain, you go and you look. I'll go there in the hard rain, yes.
Yeah.
But my thing is, you say go do your proper research. This country we ain't serious about people researching and knowing what's going on in this country. It's difficult. It's difficult to even know if your property is your property. To get a clear deed.
Okay, you have to blame yourself for that then.
No, because you pay people to go and find out if the property clear, and if the property still it wouldn't be clear. That has happened.
Oh no.
And that's why they need to put a land registry so everything's recorded and you can check. But they don't want to do that because they like the quiet title of your property.
See, so okay, with the property situation, right? There's a reason for that. Lawyers only do title researches probably up to 20 years, right? You realize some properties can have 3 title deeds.
Yes, that's what I just said.
Listen to me now. Land, you could have a property deed from 1776, which predates the property with someone that the previous buyer has.
Right.
So nowhere in this world,
that's why they need. That's why they need the land registry so they could put in there post-independence and pre-independence and see how these land title was transferred.
Let me tell you something.
To see who stole the land.
Over 20 years, easy. That's not an easy situation to clean up. You need to clean up, but it's not an easy. It's not an easy situation to clean up. Trust me on this.
I appreciate you, caller. We're running out of time. Let me try to get this last call in. And then I got some announcements to make. Go ahead, caller. You're live on Guardian Radio today.
Professor Anku.
How you doing, man?
Your Grammy boy. Listen, quick.
Yeah.
The caller was a little off base. The last caller was a bit off base. And he talking about doing due diligence. You got 30,000 people looking for homes. How much of them you think qualified now? The thing what's supposed to happen is that your builder, the person that builds your house, is supposed to carry you along and do the due diligence with you. In this case, they're the Bahas builder. The same builder that took all the carry-out did with the Eminent group when they bought it from Mr. Peachtree. Mr. Peachtree used to own that. And that place was not low-lying. We used to go up in there to pick top Grammy to make top. And a lot of shale rock in there until they started digging out. Somebody knew the value of the rough and they started digging it out. So in this case, the government inspectors and the inspector that built the homes should be at fault. Because I know nothing about the house. Thanks for taking Grammy.
Thank you very much. I listen.
So there you go.
There you go.
Some people could sign affidavits and say, "Hey, this was the situation." But listen,
Yeah, I know. I've seen videos with Lincoln Bain doing that, going around and showing where they dug it out. And there have been other people. But you're right. There are people who could sign affidavits and say, "Look, man, this wasn't always like this." But go ahead, Dr. Tinker. You give me your last thoughts.
No. Go ahead, finish what you said, and I'll close.
No, I just want to first of all say that this issue, I don't think we need to politicize it. I think it's a very serious issue because people are suffering right now and will continue to suffer because we're not really making a serious plan or solution to help the people in Pinewood and other surrounding areas where there is flooding. Like we had another caller talk about another area, right? This country, we have a status quo and a confusion in this country that people are benefiting from, and that needs to change, all right? I want to give you the last word, and then I got a quick announcement to make. Go ahead.
Listen, I agree with that, but I would say right now, because, political season is hot, but any government coming to any Bahamian citizen for support, the biggest question should be urban planning. How do you protect our homes? How do we move forward and fix these prone flooding areas? This is a big problem besides other problems.
Yeah.
Crime's important also, but your home is a huge investment.
Yes.
You take 20 to 30 years to pay it off.
Yeah.
It is the business of the government,
Yeah.
the central government, to solve these problems.
Yeah.
Bottom line, no matter how you try to point the finger to the builder, which the builder should be held accountable to, this is a problem to solve, and they must solve it as a voting citizen of the country and a homeowner and a taxpayer. They got to solve it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I have to say there. But every time I come to the show, I could have a bad day before, but I get a few good laughs out of it. So I do thank the callers and the conversation for giving me a good laugh.
Yeah, man, we can have you back
in a
on
positive way.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, Z Live comes your way next, and please make sure you tune in to Z Live. There's a big announcement that's going to be made on Z Live. I heard LeBron, I hear my son saying, Daddy, LeBron might retire. I don't know what happened, and they talking about some decision with LeBron. Well, Z Live got a big